Most people never stop to question the voice inside their head. They live every single day with a running narrative that's often critical, negative, and downright cruel, and they just accept it. They assume that because they thought it, it must be true. But here's the truth that no one teaches you in school. Your thoughts are not facts. They are just suggestions. They are habits. They are old programming. And if you don't learn how to challenge and redirect them, they will run your life on autopilot. Let's get this straight. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker of your thoughts. That difference is everything. Because once you understand that your mind throws thoughts at you like a broken vending machine, you also realize you don't have to buy what it's selling. Just because your mind tells you you're not good enough doesn't mean that's true. Just because it says you'll fail if you try doesn't mean that's a prophecy. It's just a thought. It's noise. And until you wake up and realize that you have the power to choose which thoughts to believe, those thoughts will own you. Your brain is designed to keep you safe, not successful. So it will always present worst-case scenarios first. It will always remind you of what could go wrong. It's a survival mechanism. It's the same part of your brain that helped your ancestors not get eaten by tigers. But here's the deal. Most of the time now, there are no tigers. The threats your brain is warning you about are not life or death. They're discomfort, they're risk, their fear of judgment. And your thoughts will scream at you to stay small, to stay safe, to not step out of your comfort zone. But that voice? That's not the voice of your potential. That's the voice of your limitations. You have to start treating your thoughts like traffic on a highway. Just because a car drives by doesn't mean you jump in. You observe it. You notice it. You let it pass. That's how you handle thoughts that don't serve you. You acknowledge them. You question them. And you let them go. And when a thought shows up that tells you you're not ready, or not smart enough, or not worthy, you pause and ask, is that really true? Or is that just an old script? Every time you consciously choose to question a thought, you interrupt the automatic loop. You take back control. And the more often you do it, the stronger you get. This is mental strength. This is how you train your mind, the same way you train your body. You don't go to the gym once and expect to be fit for life. It's a practice. It's a daily decision. And the same goes for your thoughts. Start paying attention to your inner dialogue. Write it down if you need to. Look at the patterns. Notice how often your mind talks you out of greatness. And then make a decision. You're no longer letting those thoughts decide who you are, because they're not the truth. They're just thoughts. And when you stop believing everything you think, you open yourself up to new possibilities. It starts with awareness, that moment when you catch yourself spiraling into self-doubt or catastrophizing the future. In that moment, don't panic. Don't beat yourself up. Just pause. Name the thought. Call it out. That's the voice of fear. That's the voice of my past. That's not my truth. And then redirect, choose a thought that empowers you. Something as simple as, I'm figuring it out, or I've done hard things before. That shift may seem small, but it's everything. It's how you stop being a slave to your thoughts and start becoming the master of your mind. This is the difference between people who stay stuck and people who move forward. It's not that the successful ones don't have negative thoughts. It's that they've learned not to give those thoughts the steering wheel. You can do the same. You can retrain your brain. You can take the power back. But it starts with this one truth. Your thoughts are not facts. They're just suggestions. And you get to decide which ones you follow. The human brain is an incredible machine, but let's be honest, it's outdated. It was built for survival, not for thriving in the modern world. That means, unless you train it, unless you consciously interrupt its default settings, it will always drift back to fear, doubt, and negativity. That's not because you're broken or weak. That's just biology. The brain's number one job is to keep you alive, so it scans for danger constantly, even when there isn't any. That voice that says, "Don't try, you'll embarrass yourself. What if you fail?" That's your brain doing what it was built to do, protect you. But here's the catch. If you don't understand this, your own mind will become the biggest obstacle in your life. Think about it. You wake up in the morning, and before you even get out of bed, your mind starts listing everything that could go wrong. What if the meeting goes badly? What if I mess up? What if they judge me? What if I'm not good enough? That inner monologue of fear and doubt isn't you being dramatic. It's your brain trying to avoid risk. But the problem is, in today's world, risk is often exactly where growth happens. The very things your brain wants to avoid, uncertainty, discomfort, challenge, are the same things that lead to success, confidence, and fulfillment. And here's something most people don't know. The more you listen to that fear-based voice, the louder it gets. The more you obey it, the more control it takes. It becomes your default. You start making decisions not from your goals, but from your fears. You stay in the job you hate. You keep quiet when you want to speak up. You hold back on your ideas, not because you aren't capable, but because your brain is running an outdated program that says better safe than sorry. That might have worked thousands of years ago, but today it's keeping you stuck. This is why mental training is not optional. You have to learn how to override the default. You have to recognize that if you don't take control of your mind, it will control you, and not in a good way. You've probably heard of neuroplasticity. That's the brain's ability to rewire itself. But guess what? That rewiring happens whether you're intentional or not. If you constantly feed your brain fear, doubt, and excuses, it will strengthen those neural pathways. But if you start feeding it courage, focus, and action, it will build new ones. This is science. This is real. So how do you start rewiring? You start small. You start by catching yourself in the act. When you hear that voice saying, "I can't," stop and ask, is this fear talking, or is this my truth? When your brain throws a worst-case scenario at you, pause and counter it with a best-case scenario. Your brain isn't going to like it at first. It's going to resist. That's okay. You're breaking an old pattern. It takes repetition. It takes consistency. But over time, something powerful starts to happen. Your new thoughts become stronger than your old fears. You also have to understand the role of environment. What you consume matters. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, whether it's people, media, or even your own self-talk, your brain absorbs that. It becomes your mental diet. Just like you wouldn't eat junk food every day and expect to feel amazing, you can't consume negativity all day and expect your mind to be sharp and confident. Protect your inputs. Feed your brain things that build you up, not tear you down. And finally, don't wait until you feel confident. That's another trap. Your brain wants you to wait until the fear is gone before you act, but confidence is a result, not a prerequisite. You build confidence by doing the scary thing, by proving to your brain that you can handle it. Every time you act in spite of fear, you shrink its power. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you retrain your mind to support you, not sabotage you. So yes, your brain defaults to fear and negativity, but you are not a victim of that wiring. You can take control. You can reprogram. You can build a mindset that serves your goals instead of your fears. It's not magic. It's work. But it's the kind of work that transforms lives. Master your mind and you change everything. Every single thought you repeat becomes a thread in the fabric of your identity. That voice that says, "I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. I don't belong." It doesn't just stay a thought. When repeated, it turns into a belief. And those beliefs start defining who you think you are. Most people don't realize they're walking around, living out a story that was built from thoughts they didn't choose and beliefs they never questioned. The identity you carry today is likely the result of patterns you've repeated for years. And if you don't break those patterns, they will keep shaping your future. When you tell yourself, "I always procrastinate," guess what happens? You start acting in ways that align with that identity. Your mind looks for proof to back it up. "See, I didn't start today either. That's just who I am." And over time, it becomes more than a behavior. It becomes a label. And the moment something becomes part of your identity, it becomes harder to change. Not because it's permanent, but because you believe it is. But here's the truth. Identity is fluid. It's not carved in stone. It's shaped by the thoughts you choose to believe and the actions you choose to take. Let's break this down. The cycle starts with a thought. Maybe it's negative. Maybe it's self-critical. You don't catch it. You don't challenge it. You just accept it. Then you repeat it. The thought becomes a pattern. The pattern becomes a belief. And the belief becomes your identity. "I'm not disciplined. I'm not confident. I'm not a leader." None of these started as truths. They started as unchecked thoughts. But once they take root, they start running the show. You begin filtering every experience through that lens. Even when you succeed, your brain dismisses it. That was just luck. Because your identity isn't wired to see success as consistent with who you are. This is why mastering your thoughts is more than just about thinking positively. It's about rewriting the script of who you believe you are. And that starts with catching the patterns. Start noticing the statements you make about yourself. How often do you say, "I'm always like this," or "I never do that"? That's your identity talking. And if it's based on fear, failure, or past wounds, you're building a future based on a version of you that no longer needs to exist. You have the power to rewrite it. But it takes effort. It takes awareness. It takes interrupting those moments when the old identity wants to take control. You have to be willing to say, "No, that's not me anymore." Even if it feels fake at first, even if it's uncomfortable. Because the truth is, you can act your way into a new identity. Start showing up as the person you want to become. Start thinking like them, speaking like them, making decisions like them. It's not about faking it. It's about aligning your actions with your potential, not your past. Let's say you've always believed you're not a confident person. That belief came from years of hesitating, holding back, staying quiet. But what if you flipped the script? What if you said, "I'm learning to be confident," and then you took one small action in that direction every day? Raise your hand in the meeting. Speak up when it's uncomfortable. Those little actions send new data to your brain. And over time, your brain rewires itself to match the new story. Your thoughts change. Your patterns change. And eventually, your identity changes too. This is how transformation really happens. Not by waiting for confidence to magically appear, but by changing the internal story, one thought, one action at a time. Your brain will resist. It will tell you this isn't you. That's okay. It's just unfamiliar. You're not losing yourself. You're shedding the layers that no longer fit. The real you is underneath all that noise waiting to emerge. So remember this: you are not stuck. You are not your past. You are the author of your identity, and your thoughts are the pen. If you want to change your life, start by changing the way you think about yourself. Speak to yourself like someone worth believing in. Choose thoughts that support who you're becoming, not who you've been. Because when you rewrite your inner story, everything else in your life starts to align with it. That's the power of mastering your thoughts before they master you. Awareness without action is just observation. You can read every book, listen to every podcast, and fill your journal with insights. But until you take real, deliberate action to change your thoughts in real time, nothing actually shifts. Awareness is the first step. It's the moment you recognize a negative thought, a limiting belief, or a toxic pattern. But mastery begins the moment you do something about it, because in that instant where you catch yourself spiraling into self-doubt or fear, and you choose to interrupt it instead of feeding it, that's when transformation happens. Let's be clear. Your thoughts don't control you unless you allow them to. They only have power when you believe them, engage with them, or act according to them. So the key isn't just noticing your thoughts, it's learning how to shift them. This is where the real work begins. You have to build the habit of replacing old mental loops with new intentional ones. And it's not going to happen once and be over. This is a daily practice because your brain will default to what's familiar unless you train it to do something different. So how do you take action in the moment? Start with what I call a pattern interrupt. That means when a thought shows up, like, I'm going to mess this up or no one cares what I have to say, you don't just let it sit there and echo. You call it out. You literally say, that's not helpful. You might snap your fingers, stand up, or physically move. Do something to break the flow. You're disrupting the neural pathway. Then immediately replace that thought with something empowering, even if you don't believe it 100% yet. Say, I'm learning and growing. Say, I've done hard things before and I can do this. These are not just feel-good mantras. They're rewiring statements. They're building new paths in your brain that with repetition become the default. And action doesn't always have to be big or bold. Sometimes the most powerful action is simply choosing not to follow the old pattern. Maybe it's resisting the urge to retreat into silence when you want to speak up. Maybe it's deciding to get out of bed, even though your thoughts are telling you the day is already lost. These micro-decisions create momentum, and momentum builds confidence. It's important to understand that your brain learns through evidence. So every time you act against your old thoughts, you provide proof to yourself that you're changing. Your brain starts to recognize, wait a minute, we didn't fall apart when we spoke up. We survived, we grew. And slowly, those new actions start to reshape your beliefs. You begin to trust yourself more, begin to see that those negative thoughts don't define you. They're just noise you've learned to rise above. One of the most overlooked parts of this process is emotional regulation. When a negative thought arises, it often brings a flood of emotion with it. Fear, anxiety, guilt. If you let those emotions run wild, they reinforce the thought. That's why taking control of your state is part of the action. Breathe, slow down, ground yourself in the present. Remind yourself that a thought is just a mental event, not a prediction or a command. You are safe, you are capable, and you are in control. This is a discipline. It's a mental workout. Just like going to the gym builds physical strength, catching and redirecting your thoughts builds mental resilience. And just like at the gym, you're not going to feel like doing it every day, but you do it anyway. Because the compound effect of those consistent actions is freedom. Freedom from being ruled by fear, doubt, and negativity. And let me tell you something that people don't talk about enough. Your brain respects repetition. The more often you take action in response to awareness, the faster you rewire your patterns. It won't be perfect. You'll still have days when the old thoughts win. That's okay. What matters is that you keep coming back, that you keep choosing the new path, that you keep showing your brain, this is who we are now. So remember, awareness is powerful, but it's just the beginning. What transforms your life is the action you take once you become aware. Interrupt the thought. Replace it. Act in spite of fear. Do it over and over until it becomes who you are. That's how you master your thoughts before they master you. It's not theory, it's a decision. One you make again and again until you become the version of yourself you've always known you could be. You would never go a week without showering or brushing your teeth, right? Because you know your body needs regular maintenance to stay clean, healthy, and functional. But here's the problem. Most people never apply that same principle to their minds. They let days, weeks, even years go by without checking in on their thoughts. They allow fear, comparison, self-doubt, and negativity to pile up like mental clutter. And then they wonder why they feel anxious, stuck, or unmotivated. The truth is simple. Your mind needs daily hygiene just as much as your body does. If you're not actively cleaning it, it's getting messy. And a messy mind leads to a messy life. Think about what you consume in a day. Social media, news, other people's opinions, your own critical self-talk. It's nonstop. And if you're not intentional, your brain becomes a storage unit for all that mental junk. You start believing every random thought. You start reacting instead of responding. You live in a constant state of low-grade stress and don't even realize it. This is why daily mental hygiene isn't just helpful, it's necessary. It's how you stay clear, focused, and in control. There are a few simple practices that can completely shift your mental state if you do them consistently. The first is journaling, not the fancy filtered kind, just a brain dump. Every morning, take 5 minutes to write down whatever is on your mind. Get it out. Don't edit it. Don't judge it. Just empty your head. This clears mental clutter and gives you clarity about what you're actually thinking and feeling. It's like cleaning out your inbox before the day starts. Another powerful tool is mindfulness. And no, it doesn't mean you have to sit cross-legged on a mountain for an hour. It can be as simple as taking 3 deep breaths and bringing your attention to the present moment. When your thoughts are racing, when anxiety creeps in, grounding yourself in the now can reset your entire system. Your breath is an anchor. Use it. When your mind starts spinning stories about the past or future, return to the breath. This trains your brain to stop reacting on autopilot and start responding with intention. Affirmations are another daily practice that rewires your mental patterns. But here's the catch. They have to be believable. Don't force statements that feel fake. Instead of saying, I am completely confident, say I am learning to trust myself more every day. The goal is to shift your inner dialogue gradually. Speak to yourself with the same kindness and belief you'd offer to someone you love. The words you say to yourself every day matter more than any motivation you get from the outside. Visualization is another form of mental hygiene that elite performers, athletes, and entrepreneurs use daily. Take a few minutes to close your eyes and picture yourself succeeding. Imagine how it feels to finish the project, make the move, speak with confidence. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. When you visualize success consistently, you start priming your brain to believe it's possible and to act like it's inevitable. All of these tools, journaling, mindfulness, affirmations, visualization, are simple, but most people don't do them. Not because they don't work, but because they underestimate the power of consistency. One day won't change your life, but doing it every day, that changes everything. You're not doing these things because your life is falling apart. You're doing them to prevent it from falling apart. Just like brushing your teeth prevents cavities, these habits prevent mental decay. They keep your mindset strong, your thoughts clear, and your focus sharp. And here's something most people don't realize. When your mind is clean, you make better decisions. You show up differently. You speak with more confidence. You create from a place of purpose, not pressure. You stop reacting from fear and start responding from strength. That's the power of mental hygiene. It doesn't just make you feel better, it makes you be better. So stop waiting for the breakdown to start taking care of your mind. Don't treat self-care as an emergency response. Make it a daily ritual. 5 to 10 minutes a day is all it takes. It's not about being perfect. It's about staying consistent. because your thoughts shape your reality. And if you want a powerful, focused, unstoppable life, it starts with cleaning up the one place where it all begins: your mind. Master your mental hygiene, and you master your potential every single day.